Your Harley's engine isn't dying from hard miles. It's dying from the 10 minutes of care it never gets between rides. Here's the part that stings. Almost none of it is wear. It's neglect, and neglect is a choice. Give your V-twin one focused hour a month, and you can ride past 100,000 miles on the original bottom end, while other bikes get parted out at 40,000. Skip it, and you're funding your dealer's next boat. Stay to the end, because the final habit is the one that separates riders who baby their bikes from riders who actually make them immortal. Let's get into it. Number 15. Stop letting it idle to warm up. Every rider's grandfather told them to fire it up, let it sit, and let it warm up before rolling out. On an air-cooled Harley, that advice is actively cooking your engine. Here's why. Your twin cam or Milwaukee 8 has no radiator. It sheds heat through airflow over the cylinders and jugs. Sitting still at idle, there's zero airflow, so the rear cylinder, which already runs hotter because it sits in the front cylinder's heat shadow, climbs fast toward the danger zone. Prolonged stationary idling is exactly how you glaze the rear jug and bake the oil. The right move is to start it. Give it 30 to 45 seconds for oil pressure to come up and reach the top end, then ride away gently, keeping it under 3,000 RPM until the oil temperature comes up. Airflow warms the motor evenly. Idle warms it destructively. But warming up right means nothing if you're feeding it the wrong blood, which brings us to the mistake almost every rider makes at least once. And the next entry proves the point perfectly. Number 14. Match the oil to the engine, not the shelf. Not all Harley motors take the same oil, and using the wrong one is a slow-motion mistake. Twin cams and Milwaukee 8s are built to run hot. Oil temperatures of 230 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit are completely normal, and on a bad traffic day, they will spike higher. Conventional automotive oil breaks down and shears at those temperatures. That is why a proper 20W50 motorcycle-specific oil matters. It holds its film strength when your cases are radiating like a wood stove. And here is the detail most riders miss. Many Harleys share oil between the engine, primary, and transmission, or run 3 separate fluids depending on the model and year. If your bike uses separate fluids, you cannot dump engine oil in the primary and call it done. The primary wants its specific lubricant, so the clutch plates grab correctly instead of slipping or dragging. Get this wrong, and you will chase a bad clutch that was never bad. Feed each cavity what it is actually engineered for. But even the perfect oil turns into liquid sandpaper if you ignore the next one. And this next one explains why. Number 13. Change the oil on time and read it like a report card. Harley's manual gives you an interval, but severe service, short trips, stop and go, hot climate, rallies at walking pace, cuts that number down hard. The real killer is not miles. It's heat cycles and moisture. Here's the habit that actually saves motors. When you drain it, don't just dump it. Look at it. Rub it between your fingers. Metallic glitter means your cam bearings or gears are shedding. Catch that early on a twin cam and you save the whole engine. A milky look means moisture, common on bikes that only ever get short rides. A burnt smell means it ran too hot too long. And always cut open or inspect the filter. And check your drain plug. The factory magnetic plug pulls steel shavings out of the oil, and a light fuzz is normal, but chunks are a warning. Reading your old oil is a free engine diagnostic most riders throw straight in the recycling bin. But there's a part on your bike that fails silently and takes the whole engine with it. And twin cam owners especially need to hear this. And that leads us directly to the next example. Number 12. Know your cam chain tensioners. Twin cam owners, this is for you. If you ride a twin cam built roughly between 1999 and 2006, you have spring-loaded cam chain tensioners with plastic shoes that wear down over time. When those shoes wear through, the debris circulates through your engine, and worst case, the chain lets go and destroys the motor. This is the single most important thing an early twin cam owner can understand. The monthly habit here isn't a repair, it's awareness. Listen for new rattles or ticking from the cam chest. And if you're anywhere near the mileage where those shoes wear, plan the upgrade to hydraulic tensioners or a gear drive conversion before it fails, not after. Milwaukee 8 and gear-driven engines don't have this specific issue, but the lesson stands. Know the known weak point of your exact engine and get ahead of it. Because staying ahead of failure is the whole game. And the next one is a 2-minute check that prevents a roadside disaster. And this is where things get fascinating. Number 11, inspect the primary chain and its fluid. Your primary drive takes every bit of power from the engine to the transmission, and on most Harleys, it runs a chain bathed in fluid. Two things kill it: low or degraded primary fluid, and a chain that's stretched out of adjustment. Run the primary low on fluid and the chain and clutch run dry and hot. Let the chain go too loose and it slaps the housing, wears the shoe, and hammers your transmission input. The check is simple. Make sure the primary fluid is at the correct level with the bike upright, and confirm the chain has proper free play instead of hanging slack. On chain primaries, this is routine maintenance that costs you a few dollars in fluid and saves you a transmission. Ignore it and you'll feel it as harsh shifts and a clunky driveline long before it grenades. But power delivery doesn't stop at the primary, and the next component is one riders literally bet their lives on. And that brings us to the next discovery. Number 10, check your belt, the whole belt. Your final drive belt is one of the best things Harley ever did. It's quiet, clean, and can outlast several chains. But low maintenance is not no maintenance, and a belt failure leaves you stranded, full stop. Once a month, roll the bike forward slowly and inspect the entire belt inch by inch. You're hunting for missing teeth, cracks at the base of the teeth, frayed edges, or anything embedded in it. A single small rock kicked up into the belt path can start a tear that ends your ride miles from home. Check the tension too, because a belt run too tight chews out your transmission and wheel bearings, and a belt run too loose can jump or ratchet under hard acceleration. There's a specific gotcha here. Belt tension changes with load, so a belt that feels perfect with the bike on the side stand can be wrong once you and a passenger are on it and the suspension compresses. Follow your model's spec for measuring free play at the tightest point, and if you've lowered your bike or changed the suspension, recheck it, because altered geometry throws the belt tension off. Also glance at both pulleys while you're there. A chipped tooth on the front pulley will eat a brand new belt in short order. Riders love the belt because they can ignore it. Ignore it long enough and it'll strand you at the worst possible moment. Now, the next one is invisible. It's under the tank and it's slowly starving your engine. Now we step into the next chapter of the list. Number 9. Look for weeping, seeping, and leaks before they become fires. Harleys mark their territory, the old joke goes, but a real leak is a real problem. Once a month, put the bike on the lift or a stand and look. Oil weeping from the rocker boxes, base gaskets, or the cam cover means seals are aging and your oil level is quietly dropping. A wet spot at the transmission or primary means fluid you're losing. But the one that should stop your heart is any fuel smell or dampness around the fuel lines and injectors. A fuel leak on a hot, air-cooled engine is not an oil stain on the garage floor. It's a fire waiting for a spark. Lay down clean cardboard under the bike overnight and read the drips in the morning like a map. Free, fast, and it catches the leak while it's a $15 gasket instead of a $400 top-end reseal. And speaking of things that breathe, your engine's lungs are probably choking right now. Now we arrive at one of the most interesting examples. Number 8. Service the air cleaner properly. Your Harley pulls a huge volume of air through that intake. And on a big V-twin, a restricted filter costs you real power and dumps your air-fuel ratio into the trash. A clogged filter makes the engine run rich, wash oil off the cylinder walls, and carbon up. But here's the part specific to the Harley crowd. A huge number of riders run aftermarket high-flow air cleaners, and many of those are cleanable oiled cotton or foam elements, not throwaway paper. If yours is the cleanable type, it needs actual cleaning and re-oiling on a schedule, and over-oiling it can foul sensors on fuel-injected bikes. If it's a paper element, just replace it when it's dirty. Either way, pop the cover monthly and look. A filter caked with grime is your engine trying to breathe through a pillow. But airflow is only half of combustion. The spark side has its own tell, and it's one of the cheapest diagnostics you own. Next, we look at a brand that quietly changed the game. Number 7. Read your spark plugs. Pulling your plugs is like taking your engine's temperature and blood pressure at the same time. A healthy Harley plug burns a light tan to grayish color. Black and sooty means it's running rich, bad air filter, fueling issue, or too much idling. White or blistered means it's running lean and dangerously hot, which on an air-cooled twin is a fast track to detonation and hold pistons. Oily fouling points to valve seals or rings. Because your front and rear cylinders run at different temperatures, compare the two plugs against each other. A big difference between them tells you one cylinder is unhappy while the other is fine. One rear plug reading much leaner and wider than the front is a classic sign. The rear cylinder is heat-soaked and lean, exactly the condition that kills air-cooled top ends. And when you install fresh plugs, gap them to your model's spec and use anti-seize sparingly on the threads. Harley heads are aluminum, and a plug torqued dry and cranked too hard can strip a thread and turn a $2 job into a head repair. Fresh plugs are pocket change, and the story the old ones tell is worth its weight in engine parts. But the next habit addresses the enemy. Every air-cooled engine fights every single second it runs: heat. But the next spot belongs to something even more interesting. Before we continue, everything in this video comes straight from Ride Longer, Spend Less, the complete motorcycle maintenance handbook. The full system, every step and every number we couldn't fit here. Scan the QR code on your screen to get your copy, and let's get back to it. Number 6. Manage heat like it's trying to kill you, because it is. Air-cooled means heat is your permanent adversary, and the rear cylinder is always the first casualty. 2 monthly habits fight it. First, keep the cooling fins physically clean. Road grime, bugs, and mud packed between the fins act like a blanket and trap the heat the fins are supposed to shed. A soft brush and degreaser between the fins restores real cooling capacity. Second, be honest about how you ride. Long idles at bike night, slow parade crawls, and endless stoplights in summer are where rear cylinders cook and oil breaks down. If your bike has an oil cooler, confirm it's clean and flowing. If it doesn't and you ride hard in heat, one is the best money you'll spend. Heat is the difference between an engine that lasts forever and one that slowly bakes itself into an early rebuild. And heat leads straight into the next one, because heat and torque together are constantly trying to shake your motorcycle apart. Coming in next is something many people overlook. Number 5. Go over your fasteners. Harleys vibrate things loose. A big-inch V-twin is a vibration machine, and vibration is nature's way of unscrewing your bike. This is not a joke maintenance item. Riders lose exhaust heat shields, fender bolts, mirror stems, and worse to plain old shake. Once a month, walk the bike and physically check the critical fasteners. Engine and transmission mounts, exhaust flange bolts and clamps, front and rear axle nuts, brake caliper bolts, handlebar and riser hardware, and the pinch bolts on the front end. A loose exhaust bolt burns a valve by leaking. A loose axle or caliper bolt is a genuine safety emergency. A cheap torque wrench and 5 minutes turns. How did that fall off on the highway into a non-event? Riders obsess over horsepower and forget the bolts holding the horsepower to the frame. But there's a system on your bike that gives you zero warning before it strands you cold, and it's the one most riders never touch. But the next example raises the stakes. Number 4. Test the battery and clean the connections. Harley charging systems and batteries take a beating, and the failure almost never announces itself. The bike just goes silent one morning. Corroded or loose battery terminals mimic a dead battery and make your charging system work overtime. And on a fuel-injected Harley, weak voltage causes gremlins that'll have you chasing ghosts through the wiring. Monthly, pull the seat, check that the terminals are clean and tight, and look for the white or green fuzz of corrosion. A wire brush and dielectric grease fixes it in minutes. If your bike sits between rides, a battery tender isn't optional. Sulfation from sitting kills more Harley batteries than actual use, and a modern fuel-injected Harley has parasitic draws that'll flatten a battery over a couple weeks of sitting even when everything's off. And check your voltage. A resting battery should read around 12.6 volts or better, and once running, a healthy charging system should climb into the low to mid 14-volt range at cruising RPM. If it's sitting at battery voltage with the engine running, your stator or regulator is failing and you're running on borrowed charge that will strand you when it's gone. Catch a failing stator or regulator here, in the driveway, instead of on the shoulder of a highway at night. But even a perfect electrical system means nothing if the 2 contact patches keeping you alive are neglected, and this is where your engine's health and your survival overlap. But the next one proves the rule. Number 3. Set your tire pressure and read the wear. On a machine this heavy, tires are not an afterthought. They are the only thing between you and the pavement. And they quietly tax your engine too. An underinflated Harley tire drags, runs hot, kills your fuel mileage, and makes the bike wallow in corners in a way that'll pucker you at speed. Check pressure cold, every single month, against the number on your bike's spec, not the maximum number on the tire sidewall, which is a common and dangerous mistake. While you're down there, read the wear. Cupping or scalloping points to suspension or alignment issues. A flat strip down the center means too many highway miles at too high pressure, and any dry cracking in the sidewall means the tire is aging out regardless of tread depth. A blowout on a 700-pound motorcycle at highway speed is not a repair bill. It's a life event. 2 minutes with a gauge is the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy. Now, we've covered the whole machine, but the number 1 habit ties every single one of these together, and almost nobody does it. But the real turning point comes here. Number 2, do the monthly cold start listening test. Before you touch anything, before the first ride of the month, do this. Start the bike stone cold in a quiet garage and just listen. Your Harley has a baseline sound, and you are the only person on earth who hears it often enough to notice when it changes. A new tick from the top end could be a lifter or a loose rocker. A rattle from the cam chest on a twin cam is the tensioner warning I mentioned earlier. A deep knock is bottom-end trouble you want to catch before it becomes shrapnel. Let it idle briefly. Listen for a smooth, even lope instead of a stumble that says fueling or ignition trouble. And watch for smoke. Blue means oil burning. Black means running rich. Then shut it off. This costs nothing, takes 2 minutes, and it's the closest thing you have to a stethoscope on your own engine. Your bike talks. Most riders drown it out with pipes and never hear the cry for help. But listening only works if you're actually keeping the record, which is the one habit that makes all 15 of these permanent. But the next example changes everything. 1. Keep a logbook and make the whole check a ritual. Here's the habit that turns everything above from good intentions into an engine that genuinely outlives the bike. Write it down. Pick 1 day a month, first Saturday, first of the month, whatever sticks, and run every check on this list in order and log it. Date, mileage, oil condition, tire pressures, battery voltage, what you saw, what you fixed. This does three things nothing else can. It forces consistency, because a blank line in the logbook is a check you skipped. It builds a trend, so when the oil that was clean for a year suddenly comes out with glitter, you know instantly that something changed. And it creates a paper trail that adds real money to your resale value, because a documented, meticulously maintained Harley sells for more, faster, to a buyer who trusts it. The engine doesn't last forever because of any single trick, miracle additive, or expensive aftermarket upgrade. It lasts because for 1 hour every month, you treated it like a machine that deserved attention instead of something that only gets serviced when a warning light comes on. Small inspections, fluid checks, proper cleaning, and catching little problems before they become big ones are what add up to hundreds of thousands of reliable kilometers. The logbook is what makes that discipline stick. Write down every oil change, tire replacement, valve adjustment, battery check, torque inspection, and repair, along with the mileage and date. It keeps you honest, helps you spot maintenance patterns, and makes it almost impossible to forget critical service intervals. Years later, you'll know exactly what was done, when it was done, and what needs attention next. Skip everything else and just build the habit of regular inspections and recording your maintenance, and you'll already be ahead of 90% of riders. Over time, that consistency is what separates motorcycles that are still running flawlessly after decades from the ones that spend more time in the workshop than they do on the road. If this gave you the information you needed, subscribe and we will see you next time.